Yeah. All right. I've been having some discussions with a lawyer, and so what I've been reading, and even hearing, just with certain issues, certain topics. Very concerned about the approach. I mean, it's not just him. I mean, it's something that's systematically been taught and practiced in the state of Louisiana. Unlike other states, they practice a different approach to evidence. I mean, I'm trying to understand, but I don't understand. But I do But I mean, I'm following what he's saying, and it's not really aligning with my experience with other states. So it's very difficult to try to take in what my lawyer is telling me when I've been pretty much like getting different training from other states, trying to trying to understand why Louisiana is so different. Why does Louisiana have to be so unique? Oh, I can zoom in, huh? How much? Whoa, that's an explosion. So what do we do about evidence? Are those bugs? I'm in a cloud of bugs. How do we handle the evidence? Because yeah, it's corrupt for sure. There are slibby, shibby's crazy. It's very corrupt. It's corrupt in the educational system. It's so corrupt that even they're teaching their students, they're teaching their students how to be corrupt. It's like the Hitler youth camps of Louisiana from the very beginning of life. Now I want to shrink this. Come on. Whoops. Maybe double tap. No, that doesn't work. It's Hitler youth camps in another country, the country of Louisiana, where they want to do things I just can't. Okay, let me try to. All right, that's boom. There we go. Just got to switch the sides because cops learn how to create narratives. Yeah, you learn how to create narratives right in school. You want to get them good grades. You want to get them good narratives drafted. And math really isn't a big factor in how social dynamics are executed. So mathematicians, things that don't make logical sense don't matter in these politics, in the politics of law, and because I mean the lawmakers are politicians, so a lot of these laws are politics. Statistics? Do they study statistics? It's too hard of a topic to follow. I know I struggled, so why bother, especially in Louisiana. Some lawyer with even an oz of backbone needs to step in. This is everything. Yeah, it's like they don't want to do things that make more sense. They want to focus on the piddly things, the niggle about tiny, irrelevant things. They want to they want to argue about irrelevant things, calling them irrelevant. All right, it's what was I? Okay, we were talking about the difference a little bit. I mean, I don't have a strong argument against him. I can't argue against my own lawyer. All I can do is complain outside of our conversations. I just kind of try to keep my conversation as friendly as possible. But man, it angers me to compare, because I'm comparing and contrasting the difference between other states and Louisiana. I'm not just learning the nuances of one state. I'm learning just the general feel of all the states, trying to wrap it around my head, try to follow what makes the most sense from what I've learned of multiple states, with firsthand experience. So, what are we doing here? I argue suppression of evidence, and he argues. Oh, see, that's a problem. I know it's irrelevancy. I argue suppression. He argues. Now I gotta think. Okay. It's irrelevant what he's arguing. He argues exclusion. All right. I go for irrelevance. He goes for exclusion. All right. One is weaker than the other. Exclusion of evidence. Yeah, there you go, Dan. That's what I was slowly working my mind to, is that word exclusion. I don't like that. I don't like I mean, why, I ask you, why didn't my lawyer in Idaho back in 2016 make a motion to exclude evidence as a way to get the case dismissed over my ID? The same thing. Why didn't he go for... I'm staring at this police station too, by the way. That's a police station across the street from the library. I have good connection outside the library. I don't know if they have... I might get cut off. They might have a curfew. But that's the police station over. It's a pretty nice town. I think it's a corporate town. Corporate cops, corporate structure. Everybody works on script. They all go down. Their paychecks are directly deposited into Walmart, and then they get their weekly pittance. But they got some good money. It's not just pittance though. So we're talking the difference between exclusion and suppression. And I mean, it sounds like suppression is a little too strong for the courtrooms. Like, what I was submitting for suppression of evidence, and I did read some of them paperworks into YouTube here. I still have some paperwork to read for my channel. I know it's riveting stuff to listen to, so I'm working as hard as I can to try to pump it out. But I'm kind of lazy, and this heat really slows me down. I live in my car, and sometimes I can get a little heat sickness sitting in my car, and I need to take breaks from that. Okay, with ID you are a person. Yes, my ID completes me. When it is taken away from me, I shut down, and I become very compliant until it's given back. Prosecution always lures you into their own script. They work hard at that's for sure, by pretty much demeaning you. It's pretty much like what a training instructor does to break you down. You should never play their games and object to anything that's irrelevant. Yeah, I objected, but I only objected to maybe 20%. Not even 20. At my trial, I only probably objected to 10% of what all I could have objected to. And I objected to the simple stuff, all right? Simple, piddly stuff that was easy to sustain anyways. Obvious, because that's what the prosecutor does, is he throws everything, so he sometimes can toss in some soft balls to object to, like leading. Oh, objection, leading, sustained. I mean, simple stuff that I can handle. I can handle some objections, but I can't handle them all. Especially when they're rapid fire sometimes. Objectionable issues that can be sustained, that can be objected to. Well, the difficult ones, if he throws a couple of difficult objectionable statements or questions or whatever. And do you have a phone number? We'll call and give you a tool. Nope, don't have a phone number. Or I do have a phone number, but it's not a working. I can't talk. So I have the paperwork on file. Motion to suppress evidence. And I think that's being submitted to That's admitted as part of the evidence, right? I will treat you to a meal if you ever get to Woodbury, Minnesota. All right. Well, as long as it's, I think Woodbury might be a little close to the Twin Cities, right? I'm a little scared of that. I got a lot of air in my stomach. It's an issue of refusal to learn the basics of human rights when you close your minds, and we are community and civilized. You've watched things me several times. Hit the like, folks. Keep up the good work, and then a power fist from Britain. Thank you. So this, I mean, I'm just talking about my frustrations about the difference between suppressing evidence and excluding evidence. I say don't bother with exclusion of evidence. That's like arguing city ordinances versus constitutional law. It's like arguing library policies to Supreme Court cases. All right, I think it's small beans, exclusionary, trying to argue whether something's relevant or not. It's like trying to tell patrons at the library not to wash their clothes in the bathrooms. I think it's a very piddly. I mean, I don't think they're on the same level, but I mean, the levels get mixed up so much in Louisiana. When I'm told that running a stop sign is the same as failure to ID or a resisting arrest, all right? Running a stop sign is the same as failure to ID or resisting arrest. Can you believe that? I'm so frustrated by that alignment, that twisting of relevance, twisting of the levels of whatever. And you can't. And then if you argue that you don't believe. Oh my God! I just lost my. Oh jeez, I thought I was plugged in. The relevance of issues is twisted so much. All right, that's why I got that warning. I was like, oh, there's the warning again. Make sure it's plugged in properly. Whatever. So the relevances are just twisted. It's like I think I have a good I think I'm on top of the issues a little bit. I'm like, I want to start from the constitutional issues and work down, okay? That's my starting point is what the US Supreme Court has decided, okay? And they want to start with the city ordinances and work up. Like the city ordinances, there's not a single city ordinance that has a protection law written into it. So why would I care? I'd have an idea what I'm being charged. All right, fine. Now I want to see what's relevant to the same issue. Cops are dog poo in the streets. They are the problem. Yeah, they pretty much they caused this problem. They created this little issue by working with these low standards in my arrest. And well, it continues. The standards are low for arresting, for conviction, and even defense. The defense, I mean, the defense goes for low hanging fruit. I mean, we got two analogies here: reaching for low hanging fruit, which is what Louisiana does, and I don't see many apple trees or fruit trees around. I don't know what kind of fruits they grow in Louisiana, but maybe that's an influence on their culture and how they perceive fruit. When you talk about low-hanging fruits, they don't quite follow, maybe because they only got like whatever grows in the swamps, and I don't know what that is. But there's analogy of reaching for low-hanging fruit, and then the fruit of the poisonous tree. And and they've got them both twisted. All right, maybe all their fruits are from poisonous trees, and they only see low hanging fruit as poisonous, and they're just like whatever. Maybe they can get something good out of it by just by taking it anyway, lowering the standards, developing a tolerance for the lowered standards. And then I get inmates telling me that they can stand on their head for 30 days in jail, like it's nothing. Like you just stand on your head and the 30 days are done. Jail time is over, and you just do it and forget about it, like it's no big deal. Like I didn't talk to hundreds of people. Like I didn't, not hundreds. Like I didn't talk to tons of people all around. Like I didn't get into some serious situations with inmates. All right, like tense situations with inmates, near fighting. But I mean, this is jail, and we all want to get out. We all have short terms. Although some of them guys are sentenced to 20 years, and I'm talking to them. One guy attempted to murder his family, and he said it was because of meth. I mean, this judge confines us to into small spaces with some crazy people, schizophrenics, murderers, addicts. And then they expect me just to like think 30 days of that, nearly 30 days of that, and then I'm just supposed to smile and move on with life like it was no big deal, being all cooped up in there. Uh, it's crazy. All right, and some of these guys have been in for years. They don't know what life. They don't know much about life outside of jail. Um, but these these arguments. I mean, the arguments that defense is using, that I'm hearing, is not something that other states use, and they sound to me like arguments that put people in jail more than prevent them from going to jail in Louisiana. And it's like the law. It's like built into the law. The standards are lower for arrests, for convictions, and even for your own defense. You're not allowed a jury. You're not allowed a free lawyer. And then if you get a lawyer, you look at their arguments. Look at the types of arguments they make. They're weak. They don't work from the top. They work from the middle or even the bottom down, and maybe go up. But how far do they go up? And I sat in a city court that is so limited in jurisdiction. I don't think he even reads the U.S. Constitution. He's so limited that he can only work up to the state laws that I was charged with. All that federal nonsense takes up too much of his time. He doesn't have time for that federal nonsense, even though that's what he's bound to. But I mean, even though he's bound to it, he's still working with a limited jurisdiction. So he's got an excuse to ignore the federal jurisdiction. He's got an excuse. I've got a limited jurisdiction. So I have a lot of leeway. I have a lot of leeway. I have a lot of latitude for making mistakes. Something like that. It's crazy. And it's not getting any better for me with this situation, because I mean, okay, there's some defense arguments that I kind of agree that I think might be in my favor. I just don't like the analogy that my lawyer's using. That's all. Learn to stay away from backwater state. Yeah, I'm never stepping foot unless if I have to go collect my bail bond or sit in on a hearing. But that's forcing me back in. I'm bound. I am bound to Louisiana with my bond, with an active case. All right, which is a part. My bond is a part of the active case. So I guess you could say I am still bound to Louisiana with an active case. And if I try to get them to, if I don't know, if I have, if this gets remanded back to city courts and I get a new trial set, a whole new trial over my ID. Imagine that, 2 trials for my ID, all right, for my ID. 2 trials. How many people get 2 trials for their ID? It's crazy. And that's what they like to say a lot when I was in jail, too. They like to say, it's crazy. All right, you say something that doesn't make any sense, it's crazy. They like to say that a lot. It's crazy. That's crazy. That's like such a common response. A common 2 words. It's crazy. 3 words, I guess, condensed. It's crazy. That's what they're saying in jail a lot, just to keep the conversation simple. When you get a little too intense in your conversation, it's crazy, because that's how they explain away the nuances. Okay, we don't, we could say nuances a lot, and then say it's crazy. Won't extradite on a misdemeanor. What do I have to lose on this extradition? They said real talk. That's real talk, man. Yeah. There's this inmate language that people share, and it's practiced a lot in jail. So you got everybody eventually just saying the same phrase a lot, because it's a way for everybody to connect with each other. It's crazy. And that's a phrase I could understand. Actually, their accents were so thick, a lot of times I couldn't understand what they were telling me. But yeah, the difference between suppression and exclusion. All right, when I want to do a motion to suppress, there's one thing I agree with my lawyer, and that is that he wants to argue the probable cause. Okay, and I've got the like the theory that, if you can't establish probable cause, then all evidence can be suppressed. Anything, and I want everything suppressed, even if the evidence is going to exculpate me. All right, I want everything suppressed, all police statements and body cams and everything they want to use. All right, so when they want to go to trial, I don't want them bringing any evidence in. And yeah, so then it turns into testimony, and it's like, but it's, what happened in my trial was, they practically worked without any evidence. All right, I could have it was like I was, if I was successful suppressing evidence, I would still get convicted in this city court, because yeah, people say it's a kangaroo court, but it was a lot of the imaginative stuff. They testified on the stand, all these fake scenarios about me being the Boston bomber and a school shooter or something, and that was enough to get me convicted and sentenced for 30 days. Just a different word. No, I see the way that my lawyer was explaining the difference between suppression and exclusion. What was a little different. I think suppression comes from probable cause. Okay, you're arguing that the cops had no probable cause for arrest. So any activity they conducted, like searching, well, no, anything they gathered, I'd say any evidence, and I call everything they do to present to the court as evidence, written statements, video, everything. And he's arguing that exclusion is some kind of relevancy thing. All right, he doesn't think that the written reports, say for example, he doesn't think the written reports are relevant, and I think that's a weaker argument to make. I don't give if you win, I'm still getting paid by you or the states. Oh. People don't realize that public defenders are not interested in winning your case. No. And people call public defenders ineffective, public pretenders. People call defenders public pretenders, and even with a paid lawyer, they're still working with weak defenses. There's still a weak defense due to the law. It's not like they want to be like this, but you compare and contrast other states. I see a strong offense in Louisiana in comparison to a weak defense, and that's built in through either practice or the law. I mean, it's clear in the law. I mean, no other state has written into their resisting arrest failure to ID. No other state has failure to ID written into their resisting arrest law. I actually got that, and that's it. I mean, that's lowering the standard for the victims. If you don't show us your ID, if you don't reveal your face and show us your ID, you're going to jail. It's not even a ticketable offense. It's a jailable offense. The ID issue is a jailable offense. They can't just write you a ticket. They got to throw you in jail. And that's crazy. And that's what people say in the jails of Louisiana. That's crazy. They're probably you probably hear it every 5 seconds in conversations in all jails across Louisiana. You could just imagine them. Every 2 to 5 seconds, somebody's saying that's crazy out of the jails in Louisiana, out of the thousands and thousands of people who are sitting in jail right now in Louisiana. Every 2 to 5 seconds, somebody's saying that's crazy. It's things that happen there that they're overwhelmed. I think that they're in a way saying that they're overwhelmed by how oppressive their system is. And I told as many people as I could in jail to get out of the state, leave the states, and you won't have these problems. They've written these problems into the law. They've bolstered the offense and weakened the defense on many different levels. And yeah, just because, I mean, you got to have a mandatory minimum to qualify for a free lawyer. You're stuck in city court. That's built into the law. You can't have a jury trial for this, even though I could in other states. Even though I could have a suppression, I could write a suppression motion that would be taken more seriously than in other states. I had suppression and I was ready to write a suppression motion in Bethany, Missouri too. That would have been I would have done the motion for discovery of evidence, which I got that evidence. Actually, I verbally asked for that evidence. Yeah, inbred. Travis, you demonstrated that what you say is true. Thanks for showing. Yeah, and I'm not even a lawyer. I told my lawyer that if he got a YouTube channel, that he would get a lot of followers quick because of the credibility of having the lawyer license. I'm not a lawyer, so me talking is kind of nonsense. How can you take me seriously, the non-lawyer? I don't have a certification. Never too late to get on the board of the GoFundMe. Yeah, I might need to start preparing for another GoFundMe because I'm sure that the argument, and I'll talk about it when my lawyer signs off on it. I'll show it. I'll read it word for word, and you see that you'll see that the option. Well, I'll explain. The option is. One of the options is that it could be remanded and I'll be retried and in Judge Owsley's court if he does not recuse himself. So that'd be interesting. Oh man, I got a mix. This is that time where it's a mix of gnats and mosquitoes. All right, cut nose hairs. Yeah, I suppose, yeah. Those are pretty big. Different laws in different states. Yeah, and I got two motions to suppress evidence in for Idaho and for North Dakota. And those, I believe, got like the my cases dismissed. I have no idea what my public defender did in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. She showed me this case. She was like, this is." She didn't write any motions. She just kind of had a verbal discussion with the prosecutor, and she just decided to drop the case, and then I can move on. I have no idea why, and really I don't know why on the other cases either exactly, except that I know what I submitted, and that's that was the end of my arguments. So it seems to be a coordination there. If you ever get up to the South Jersey, yeah, that'll be a few years. Don't stop in Mississippi. I'll avoid Mississippi too, I think. Texas was decent, but yeah, I think the east state of Louisiana, is that Mississippi? I think I'll be very hesitant to try to go down in there. I'll have to deal with maybe some 0-degree weather. I'll try to like tough out the cold weather a little bit more, just to avoid that southern region. Maybe if it got super cold, if remanded lawyer fee 5,000, yeah, probably looking. Yeah, I'll need to make a GoFundMe for about 5,000. You doubt they would retry? I don't know, man. Why was I tried the first time? If they're willing to go through it the first time, they're willing to go through it a second time. Claim victory. They're not just gonna give up. And in a way, I kind of hope they don't give up anyway. I like to. I would look down on them with pity if the city just drops it without without going through a second trial. So I mean, I encourage it. I mean, I don't like it, but I mean, do you want to look weak? Do you want to look tough? I mean, if they drop it, that's going to give me bragging rights, and that word will spread. So they can't look weak in the face of a second trial. They have to look tough. If it goes to a second trial, there's several choices, but it just seems to me, I mean, my lawyer put it at the very top, the argument that I did not have a lawyer. So that's at the top. That's the first thing the judges are going to see. The three blind judges see how they read my writ, and then decide on it. And they may not explain a darn thing. I don't know what to expect, because it's not always clear. They're going to consider they're going to consider my case to be too small. They're like, there's murder cases out there to decide upon. What's this about your ID? Who cares? Oh, it's raining. I don't have a waterproof phone. Okay. Well, then I'll just take some cover here. I guess I don't really need to make a too long of a post here. I'm just saying that I think it's ridiculous, listening to the difference between suppression and suppression versus exclusion. And I've had experience. See, that my lawyer has no experience in other states, and I have experience, not as a lawyer, just as a defendant. But I've gotten that experience, and I've seen how other states have done it. And motion to suppress, it clicks with me now. Ever since 2016, a motion to suppress clicks with me. Yeah, I don't think they're dropping anything either. Of course, I'm thoroughly convinced of that. Let's go through it. As crazy as the arguments I heard are made, that they make there's no way that they'll drop it. They'll just continue with more stuff that I can use for YouTube, and I appreciate that. I mean, that part. I just don't like the location and having to make appointments for their hearings, 5 hearings and then 5 hearings and 1 trial. And what am I looking at for a second trial? More about the same, 5 hearings and a trial, because we got to have a hearing about Judge Ousley being, getting another judge on the case. And what do we have? The same prosecutor make his case too? It'll be interesting. Let's see. Yeah, that difference. I've seen other states get whistling distal as a file on you. Oh yeah, for sure. So I had success with other states with the motion to suppress evidence, and that makes sense to me. I follow that, so I know what they're talking about. And, still a little weak. Keep doing. Yeah, I'm strengthening my back up, so that's really taking care of a lot. Sitting in my car for hours and hours weakens me, so doing the picnic table fitness, I got a channel on that. Doing the picnic table fitness really helps. Where's 42 when you need them? Earl and 42 would get along quite well. Yeah, 2 states. I pretty much won with motion to suppress evidence, and that is suppressing all evidence, not on the basis of it being a matter of like a Fourth Amendment issue. It's a Fourth Amendment issue. Probable cause. Do you have probable cause to search me? Well, that's searching me. That's the thing, that they're looking at it like it's a Fourth Amendment issue. They're looking at motion to suppress like it's a Fourth Amendment issue, and I'm not just only looking at it like it's a Fourth Amendment issue. I'm looking at it like it's an illegal arrest. It's not a motion to recognize my Fourth Amendment. It's a motion to suppress evidence. It's not, and it's not in regards to the Fourth Amendment. It's a probable cause issue. Probable cause. Do you have probable cause to search me? I guess that is somewhat of a Fourth Amendment. I don't know what other amendments you could bring in, actually. Fourth Amendment for a suppression issue. Yeah. I don't know. It's fourth. I have to wrap my head around it a little bit more. I've come into this chat with a little unprepared. That doesn't exist. No, yeah, that's the U.S. They don't look from the top down. They look from the bottom up, especially in city court, because their jurisdiction is so limited that they can only look up so far because they got a ceiling. It's like a glass ceiling for women in the workforce. The city judges have a glass ceiling that they hit their heads on if they overextend themselves, and they do often overextend themselves and need to be checked. I mean, this issue I have to wonder if any district judges ever argue. Do any district judges ever argue this type of issue? Do district judges really take my type of case to trial? All right, how often does that happen? City judges, well, yeah, they'll take anything to trial. My trial was like a murder case for them. All right, it's exciting stuff for a city judge to have somebody actually dispute something that they feel is in their jurisdiction, and they can make it in their jurisdiction because the lawmakers have granted them that power to pretty much compare failure to ID with running a stop sign, and then city judges asking me would I use a lawyer for a stop sign violation. Well, that's just the same as a failure to ID. It's just all right. So yeah, do I have any mods in here? Wow, Earl's just saying some nonsense that really doesn't. That's trying to insult, and it's not really helping. The judge was flexing his tiny muscles. Yeah, Yeah, it's trying to show a more power. It's like it's trying to act bigger than he is. All right, and that happens a lot. Yeah, a lot. Oh, it's still raining. A lot of cities are like that. To try to act bigger than they are, just as a way to control people without actually having the power to maintain the control if it's questioned, if it's called into question. So. All right. So yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. There's, I got some visitors. I can't really do much talking, and I mean, it works. It kind of works in the car. I think inside the car, but I don't want to spend a lot of time sitting in the car. Uh, you have intent to refuse to know the legality. Yeah, it's like the how I want to hear. I mean, it. Judge Usley said that it doesn't violate my Fourth Amendment right to have to surrender evidence to the prosecutor, even if I don't plan to use evidence. So he's pretty much saying that the Fourth Amendment really doesn't matter on a lot of different levels. If it doesn't matter that on an issue of having to surrender evidence to my prosecutor up to the trial, it. My prosecutor was demanding all video or all statements or whatever, and Judge Usley's like, "Yeah, man, you have to give it. I'm ordering you." That's the thing. I was ordered a few things. I was ordered to do a few things, and I want to collect those orders. I have to go through. I'm so slow on the transcripts. What are all the orders that I was given by Judge Usley? I'd like to make a little list of all those orders that he gave me, particularly in the courtroom. All right, and I mean clearly one was I have to surrender all exculpatory evidence. So that was a clear order, but my memory is kind of bad. And I think there might have been some other orders. There was definitely the order to go to the public defender's office. So that was the last order I believe he gave me. But yeah, there was a lot of pushing against me in ways that I was not accustomed to. I've never seen before. And well, I'm better prepared for it. I mean, wow. When I'm ordered to surrender exculpatory evidence to the prosecutor, I mean, I guess I'll have to risk like contempt of court problem by just saying no. I don't have to give up any evidence to the prosecutor. Even when Judge Usley says, I order you to to hand over all your evidence to the prosecutor, and I say no, I mean, what's the next step he's going to take? I flat out say no. He's pretty much going to say, I'm going to find you in contempt of court or something. I mean, it's an order. I mean, you ask the police on the streets, when they tell you to move somewhere, and you ask, like what I've seen, I forgot his name, Jeffrey Rosalind. Jeffrey Rosalind had a pretty good video. I don't know if people saw that. I appreciate what he did at the Natchitoches Library, showing it a little bit. And he got a couple thousand views. And then now he had that recent video, like, I don't know, maybe last week, where he actually recorded somebody getting arrested. And he's a new guy, he's got a new channel. And he's got some pretty good videos. His first 3 videos are pretty good, in my opinion, showing the actual guy getting arrested. And he was told to move, and he asked the cops, is that an order? And the cop was like, I'm asking you, can you move over there, please? And then Jeffrey questioned that, and he's like, okay, I heard you say please, like you're asking me, but is this an order? And then the cop says, yes, this is, I order you to move. And he didn't question it after that. He just wanted to make it clear that he was ordered. Well, I mean, that there's what repercussions do you have on that? You ask the cop, is that an order? Okay, they say it is, so you do it. Even if it's illegal, what you got it on camera, you got evidence that they ordered you to do something that it may call into question certain civil rights. And what? The judges do that too. The judges, not only the cops, the judges will order you to do things that are called that order you to do things that challenge your constitutional rights. It's not like the judge asked me to hand over exculpatory evidence. He ordered me. All right, that's like what you hear the cops do on the streets. That's like cops can arrest you for violating orders. Well, what can the judge do? He can't really. He can have you arrested and then found in contempt of court. This is in the courtroom. Uh, um, uh, I want to say live, but it's not on the record. It's in the courtroom on the record that they're ordering you that I was ordered to hand over evidence. And then what? Do I sue the judge for ordering me under threat? Like when you're ordered, I mean that's a threat of what are the punishments that happen if you defy an order? All right, that's yeah, you know Jeffrey Roslund, Roselund. You know, it looks like he wants to be a famous YouTuber too, because when he got to the scene, he was out of breath, like he ran a good distance to get it, and he was all excited, you know, happy that he made it to the spot on time. This was in Washington, so yeah, thank you for stopping talking, Travis. Linda says thank you for being on our site. Yeah, thank you. You know, for the advice I've been getting over the years on my videos and how to handle them. I'm just presenting my issues, and I haven't had any serious issues in a while now. So, and I mean in days, I measure that in days. Let's see, lawyers, MO, bog your opponents a ton of meaningless paperwork. Yeah, they definitely buried me in paperwork in my car, printing off each individual certificate for the cops. They couldn't make a list out of certificates that the cops got. They had to print out each individual certificate from each of the cops, and that was like 30 certificates each cop. So it filled my car a little bit extra. And it was just excessive a waste of paper, and it filled up my car too much. So the best I could do is take pictures of those pieces of paper, you know, something they could have done, put it on digital formats, and then throw away the papers. I mean, that's what I could pretty much do with all of their paperwork. I mean, I kind of kept the paperwork, but I was putting it in digital format for easier reference. It's easier to refer to the digital paperwork than actual paperwork sometimes. You can get jail time if you don't listen to the judge, but the judge can get kicked out of his job if he doesn't apply. Yeah, it's amazing. Like, I mean, you don't get the judge can have you immediately tossed in jail for contempt of court, but it takes maybe years to get him in front of a panel that could question his ethics. I mean, there's a time delay there. They can have immediate satisfaction, and it takes much delayed satisfaction. So, yeah, I'm looking at the problem with this suppression and the approach. I mean, my lawyer's taken the right approach with the calling into question the probable cause And I think probable cause leads to suppression, but he argues, and he didn't even bring up the arguments really anyway in the writ. He's just a writ writer, and this is something that should have. This is stuff that we would have argued before my trial, and he would have taken his stance, and I would have just had to go with it. But it's that issue of just excluding evidence for relevancy, and he didn't see anything that was that needed to be excluded because, I mean, they didn't seize any porn, drugs, guns. They didn't seize any of this. There was nothing that needed to be suppressed anyway, or needed to be excluded. Sorry, excluded. But I just want to. Every time an arrest happens, I don't feel like I should just stop using suppression motions. I think suppression motions still should be conducted. It start out with discovery, bill of particulars, suppression, and then dismissals, motion to dismiss case or whatever. Just start working on those paperworks pre-trial, having those hearings, and I guess calling in witnesses. You want to subpoena witnesses, so I would subpoena. See, on the motion to suppress, I don't even know, really. It's like, when I want to suppress evidence, it's like, it doesn't really require witnesses. You just argue on the law. But it's just peek of the rules. Maybe have a peek of the rules. Okay. I thought I peeked a little bit, and I didn't really like what I saw. This exclusion stuff, things about relevancy. I suppose I could read it again. It's just individual states have their own set of rules. So yeah, it's the reference, how you reference them. Only need evidence of cops talking to you. Detainment never happened. Okay. Yeah, the ordering or whatever. There's the ordering. I mean. It would I have been, or just if it was an order, would I have only been, what would be the next step that Judge Owsley would take after the order? Would he just, I mean, what, he needs to achieve a goal. He wants to get my evidence, right? All right, he says, I order you to hand over all your evidence, and I say no. What does he do? What, will he just will he just throw me in jail until I say yes? Will he sign search warrants, all right, to search my car for whatever, search my computers somehow, take my computers? I mean, what's the extent that length that he'd go to fulfill, to satisfy his curiosity, I guess? Does he have a curiosity? Does he have a real legal, like, yeah, it's just amazing. And it's obvious that he's working from the bottom to the top, and not even the full top. He's only working from the bottom halfway to the top. That second top half is completely just in another world for him. It's he works from the bottom to halfway to the top because of his limited jurisdiction. So he just kind of passes off all constitutional arguments as, oh, I think it's all constitutional, whatever. We're focusing on the state's law here, on what the charge is, the simpleton law, the stranger law that the cops can only use pretty much one time on you, unless if I can prove that we've met before. And in a way, Rosalind, the librarian, was trying to make an argument for me by saying that we have met before. Travis has been here before, and everybody should have recognized me because I've been here before. I've already been identified. You know who I am. So how can you hold that law against me if I've already been there before? So it's quite interesting. So a 42-year-old. I thought I seen that name. Yabor died. He had medical. He was 42. Was he a famous guy? The Dutch motorcycler traveler. It must. For she is on the way to Alaska. No, she's riding Alaska. She's not on her way to Alaska. She's riding a motorcycle called Alaska. It's discovery evidence in order for you to use. I've been watching that Itchy Butt, and wow, she pumps out those videos, and I have no idea how do you coordinate two GoPros. She's coordinated 2 or 3 GoPros. I can't. I got a GoPro here. Where's my other GoPro? I don't. Oh, I think I know. Okay. Let me see if I can find that. There it is. Okay. So I got. How do you? I don't know. She's a magician. She's a really good like she's able to coordinate 2 GoPros together back and forth. Record with this, then record with this, record with this, record with this. Maybe do this twice, and do this, and this. I get them mixed up. I don't know how to do it because it's just impossible to organize. I can't organize GoPro footage. I get them mixed up. I don't know how she does it. It's amazing. I can coordinate Samsung. I got this, and then the Samsung 9. But since they're both saved by date and time, they just all fall in order, so I can keep them in chronological order. But the GoPros are like 2 completely different units. They save the files in completely different ways. And I can't coordinate. You have to like memorize every time you take that video. I don't know how to coordinate that. But that's a different topic. No, they said the reason they got called for nothing about a detainment. So, yeah, this difference between suppression of evidence and exclusion. I mean, yeah, I guess I should read the rules a little bit more to understand the Louisiana rules, because suppression is, yeah, more of a federal thing, but that's more relevant to me. I want to focus on from the top and work down. No, I don't think it's a software thing. You're coordinating two separate GoPros, all right? If they're not connected together and saving the same footage on the same SD card, then you would have it in order. But if you're doing 2 separate SD cards and you're just going like I am, and like what I've seen Itchy Boots do, going back and forth, you can't. You have to. You pretty much have to memorize when each video is taken, and you can't, because I could take little clips, 30-second clips, and make about 50 of them. How can I memorize that? So I would, if GoPro, and I want to look at if there's an action camera that's saved by date and time, I would jump on that, and I would use multiple action cams that save in the same format by date and time, and then I could just click on, I'd do 3, maybe 4 cameras. And then I could just all put them into one file. They arrange by date and time. Everything's in order, and it's go. But I mean, keeping things arranged in date and time don't matter on the cop channel so much, because usually it's just only a couple of videos. It's short time. It's not something like a vlog. I can't keep a vlog in order with the GoPros. I could do that easily with this Samsung. Both the Samsungs. So, yeah, I guess I really don't have any other arguments. I'm really getting off the legal topics. And, yeah, we're talking about Tom Petty. So, I'm just going to stop it here.